All right, so Dan Mullen had one of his takes Thursday on ESPN talking about Stetson Bennett. Here's what he had to say, and I've actually got a lot to say about this because I'm not sure Dan Mullen is exactly correct with what he's saying. He said he's playing with confidence. He's playing with a swagger. First of all, and this is not what I have really an issue with, but the term swagger is kind of overused. Let's get away. Let's kind of maybe get away from that. We always typically talk about it with quarterbacks that we don't uh, that we don't perceive as prototypical. Maybe let's stop saying swagger and moxie as much, but whatever. I understand everybody doesn't have an expanded vocabulary, and I'm not, you know, pooping on Dan Mullen there. Anyway, he goes on to say he is a completely different player this year. He's got confidence. I'm the guy. I'm not just going to manage the game. I'm going to win the game for us. And you see that on film. Hey, make sure you're picking up Dogstruction. There's a lot of Stetson's exploits in here. And that's actually one thing I'm going to talk about right now, which is, Dan's wrong. Stetson Bennett has never, I don't think, talked like is being discussed right here in this statement. Stetson Bennett has always thought he's Superman. That's what people don't get. Make sure you're picking up Dark Destruction. The link is below. We're going to change the cover soon, probably for the holiday season. Uh, y'all, I actually went out with a couple of former players a year ago. Not it was a year and it was about 11 months ago. And we were talking about Stetson and JT, and this was before JT, this was before it was obvious Stetson wasn't leaving. And I said to them, this was before the Kentucky game, I think. I said, people don't understand. Stetson Bennett thinks he can do everything. He thinks he can do anything. And in the past, that was a problem, y'all. I mean, he was trying to save himself against Alabama. The crazy across the field throw. I mean, the difference with Stetson Bennett isn't the I'm the guy. I'm not just going to manage the game. I'm going to win the game. He's always tried to win the game. He's chilled out. The experience has mattered a ton for him. He's always thought he was Superman, y'all. Now, we don't play hero ball. That's not good. We don't want that. You want to play within the system, within yourself. Do what you're supposed to do. I think that's the part that Dan gets wrong here. Stetson's always had swagger. Go back and ask Roquan, ask Lorenzo Carter, ask those guys on the 17 team who had to deal with him every day in the run up to the Rose Bowl. I mean, it was Stetson was plenty of problems. What I think Dan's trying to say, and he's got it a little wrong. I understand he's talking in sound bites for television, but uh, you know, and that's the problem with TV. I mean, I love television. I consume it a lot. I think there's a lot of people that do a good job, but they don't have the time to really explain it in a way that includes context. And with every single thing, there's context. Now, the difference, I was talking with someone yesterday in broadcasting actually, and I said, the folks that try to cover all the team, they got a hard job because they can't possibly know Georgia the way I do. And I've covered Georgia the entire time Stetson's been there. And nobody watched Georgia Kentucky, okay, up there in 2020. They didn't. Well, guess who was there? And guess who was one of I was the only person that went to every single game of the COVID year. I was the only one. It was me and Roddy at Missouri. Poor Roddy. God, I hope that trip wasn't as miserable for him as it was for me, but it probably was because Middle Earth sucks. But the point is that there's no way, folks like Dan Mullen can totally get it right because they're trying to spit it out real quick. Stetson's always thought he could be the guy. If you watch the Eli Manning special this past week, he talked to Eli about how he didn't want to go to a small school because he didn't want to blow it up there and wonder what could have happened at Georgia. So he went to Georgia. Of course, he left. Everybody knows the story. But he gave himself a chance. And as it turns out, that chance proved to be an important moment in his life because when Georgia wanted him back on scholarship, and I can tell you right now, I can confirm with you that they would have not gone back to Georgia without a scholarship. Um, Proving himself in 17, 18 mattered a lot. And so he came back 17. He came back. Well, now I'm getting all the years confused. He left in 19. And that was now I'm getting everything wrong. Well, anyway, he left and came back, right? And when he came back in 20, he was on scholarship. I believe he was on scholarship in 19, the more I think about it. But he's always had, I think the playing has helped him tremendously. He has worked on this. He has done everything needed to be done to position himself. He will probably be in New York City in December. I do not think right now he will win the Heisman. I'm a Heisman voter. He's certainly in my top three. But I think people think this game manager thing. I mean, he wasn't a game manager last year. Did you watch the Michigan game? Did you watch the Tennessee game? I mean, the Tennessee game a year ago, he's out there putting the ball exactly where it's got to be. He's making Vols pick their jock strap up when he's running circles around them near the end zone. It just James Cook was really the player of the game against Tennessee, but a lot of that was because of passes from Stetson. Did you miss the Michigan game? I mean, the Auburn game. I mean, there were plenty of games where Stetson, these type throws, that's not management, man. And that's making plays. And everybody's a manager. Bryce Young's a manager. I mean but we reserve these. Kirk Cousins can he make the plays to get you a win for the Minnesota Vikings? History tells us usually not. Can Stetson Bennett make the plays to get you a win? I mean, I don't see how there can be any confusion about this right now. I don't see how anyone that watched the national championship game a season ago, and it was like 24 million people, I don't see how you could understand the context of what was happening in that moment. That Stetson Bennett had fumbled the ball. He was about to be the total GOAT of all Georgiadom, which is really saying something considering the Falcons and all this stuff. And after that fumble, and they get out there and throw the ball all the way down the field, resulting in this touchdown to his buddy A.D. Mitchell in the end zone. Right there. And, A.D. and I talked about it over the summer. They knew they had it. There's someone picking up an issue of DAWGSTRUCTION right there. You can see it. That's awesome. Thank you for the order. If they didn't think that Stetson was essentially Superman, they wouldn't have passed the ball down the field the entire time to take the lead for good. And then Bama punted, and then Georgia took the lead again. Well, they didn't take it again. They pushed the lead to 8. Now look, Alabama would have had to get into the end zone and get a 2-point conversion. They had gotten in the end zone once the entire night. The likelihood of them getting into the end zone twice on the same drive, for me, was not happening. It didn't matter, though, because Keely Ringo had an interception that, will live on forever in infamy, for lack of a better term. That was Stetson a season ago. That was Stetson not even the Michigan game, not even the Tennessee game, or the Auburn game, or whatever. I mean, he's not a game manager. He wasn't a game manager last year. he knew he was the guy. Now that JT's gone, watched JT last night. Man, JT can run a first 1 minute offense. JT Daniels is your guy. That guy can get down the field. It is amazing. I would not leave any time on the clock. I mean, maybe 40 seconds. Even then he's going to score. He is really good at that. Stetson's really good at all the other stuff. I mean, and maybe that JT was gone. I don't know. But he's playing with a confidence. He's playing with a swagger. Dan, he was playing with a swagger last year. Now, he did not play well against y'all in Jacksonville. He did not. But he damn sure played well against everybody else. I mean, UAB. No, he did not play well against South Carolina. He did not play well against Florida. But did we get back-to-back orders? Let's go! Wow. He did not play well against Florida, but all the other games, man, he was. We got to quit saying swagger because it doesn't define the guy. The guy thinks he's Superman. He doesn't think he's a cowboy.